Next is Aleya Shedd in the neuroscience program in Dr. Kimberly Huber and Dr. Jay Gibson's lab, presenting sock scenes and sensory storms in Fragile X syndrome.
So, you know the seam on the top of your socks? If it's just a little bit out of place, it really bothers me. Now, imagine if that's how you felt about all of your incoming sensory information. Fortunately, our brain filters out billions of distracting information, like our socks, so that we can focus our attention on what's important. But for people with Fragile X syndrome, this filter seems to be impaired, and that can make them extra sensitive to sensory information and can contribute to sensory hypersensitivity. So Fragile X syndrome is one of the most common causes of autism, and it is marked by this sensory sensitivity. So while hopefully your socks aren't distracting you from listening to the most important thing, me, someone with Fragile X syndrome could be overwhelmed by all the extra sensory information because their brain is struggling to filter out all of the information. So to understand why that happens, for my work, I'm looking closer at how brain cells communicate to process sensory information. We have our go cells, which increase activity, and our stop cells that shut it down. And for them to communicate, they work through different types of receptors that work like gates, but not all of the gates are easy to get through. So when the information comes in and opens the gate to a go cell, there's also this roadblock. So it has to be strong enough to move that out of the way first. But in our stop cells, they have receptors that don't have this block. Now, through my work, I've discovered that some of these receptors are actually working for the wrong cell types in Fragile X syndrome. Why is this important? Because this receptor organization is important to maintain a balance of activity to keep our information processed properly. But in Fragile X syndrome, the balance is shifted towards increased activity. So with these unblocked receptors in the go cells, they become way more chatty, and the stop cells can't keep up. But we can rescue this by using a drug that specifically impairs these unblocked receptors, and also by preventing these unblocked receptors from ever working from the go cells in the first place. So this is a new piece of the puzzle in understanding the function of the brain in Fragile X syndrome and what contributes to this increased sensitivity to senses and increased brain activity. And hopefully this work can contribute to creating specific treatments that don't exist for people with Fragile X syndrome. And maybe your sock seams don't have to create sensory storms. Thanks.